Welcome back to the Cocked Dice. In this week's video I'm tackling an Eagle Warriors Chapter Void Specialist. Let's take a look at the parts we're going to need for tonight's conversion. This week we're basing it mainly around an Assault Intercessor body. We've got a spare arm and the carbine version of the bolt rifle from the Reaver's kit. I'm going to swap out the ammo clip for a drum ammo clip. Got some extra armour we'll add to his chest plate later. I'm going to give him a bionic arm because no doubt some sort of space accident and caused by the void, and so he's had a full replacement. I'm going to add in a backpack also from the Reaver's kit. I like the kind of vents on this. It's a slightly different shape to the Intercessor backpack, but I do think the kind of flight vents look cool and will suit this model no end. And then finally I've borrowed a head from the Chaos Raptors kit. I think it just has a slightly meaner look, and once we've cleaned off the Chaos kind of trim, it should look perfectly good on a Space Marine. So our first job tonight is going to be sticking together the body of the Assault Intercessor. Now I'm using the Sergeant from the Easy Build kit, and one thing we're not going to need here is this spare helmet. So you can see here it's attached just along this very light point along the thigh plate, so we just need to cut down here very gently. I'm going to do it with a bigger knife on the board somehow. It's a bit fiddly this one, but we want to try and cut into the helmet rather than the thigh plate. There we go. As you can see, I've left a chunk of plastic on there, and I'm just going to trim that back down so it matches the rest of the thigh plate. Now that's been cleaned up, we'll just get the Assault Intercessor body stuck together as per the instructions. Now, tonight's fun fact is this is not the first time I've collected or built an Eagle Warrior. In fact, my very first Space Marines, probably over 20 years ago, were Eagle Warriors. I think I painted about 3 squads of them up before I realised that painting an entire chapter of half white, half blue Space Marines was going to take me an absolute eternity. I sold them off and bought Eldar. When Dark Imperium came out, I almost rebuilt the chapter. I really like the colour scheme, the lore's pretty cool. They were essentially the void combat specialists of the Ultramarines, and they got spun off in the second founding. Third founding, something like that. Can't remember exactly when. But I always liked the half and half colour scheme. The main reason I didn't, other than not wanting to paint 50-50 colours, was I couldn't find any shoulder pad decals or 3D printed shoulders for them, and yeah, so that's the main reason I don't have an army of them anymore. I have Blood Ravens instead. Anyway, that's the body done. We'll give him a few minutes to dry off and we'll get to work on the rest of the model. So as I'm using an arm from the Reaver's kit, this shoulder pad is a little too big. This is the slimline Reaver shoulder pad, and obviously I want to put a normal Space Marine shoulder pad on it, so we're going to need to trim it down just a little bit. I can do this with a pair of clippers. You can just take a few chunks off it. You don't actually have to take too much, just maybe a millimetre or 2. But you do need to make sure it's fairly evenly done across the whole shoulder pad. So just clip it down all the way around. Once you're relatively happy with how much you've taken off, we're just going to take a knife to it, trim it the rest of the way down and try and smooth and round it out. So now the shoulder pad fits, we're going to turn our attention to the ammo box of the bolt rifle. So we're going to take this off, we're going to replace it with this. So I'm going to take the ammo box from about there downwards and fit it into the rest of the bolt rifle. So for that we're just going to take a knife and just cut straight across here. So this is a box style ammo clip from the assault bolt rifles, auto bolt rifles from the Intercessor's kit. Now this piece here would normally fit inside the bolt rifle. I'm not going to use that for this one, so I'm going to just take this here. I'm just going to cut gently through there like that, And again, just trim down the top, make sure it's as smooth as possible. And check the fit on here. Now that's coming a bit low, I'm obviously going to have to raise this up a bit, so I'm going to take this even further back. Once you've trimmed it up, just check it fits one more time, and then we'll get that glued together. There we have it, nice and level and square. We'll give that a few minutes to go off, and we'll get it onto the model. So whilst fighting in the void, the one thing I want to make sure is that nothing penetrates this armour. So we're going to up armour his chest plate a little piece by using one of these, which is the groin piece from a Terminator kit. As I've done before, we're going to just clean up the eagle off his chest piece. So just trim it down in layers like so. Being careful not to damage the neck collar piece. And then once you've cleaned it, you've scraped it off or cut it off, we can scrape down and just make sure that the eagle has been fully removed. So now that's all cleaned up, we'll stick on the Terminator groin piece. Now I've just pressed on it a little bit just to flatten it out and try and give myself a slightly better connection to the model. And while I'm at it, I'll let that dry for a moment. And an area that always annoys me that I forget on my conversions is the bolt pistol holster. And obviously this guy's not got a bolt pistol drawn, so I'm going to add a handle to the bolt pistol, and for that I'm just going to grab another spare carbine style assault bolt rifle, take this off. You can use any bolt pistol, this is literally the first one that came to hand from the bits box. I'm just going to need to trim this down a little bit and I'll fit this straight in that slot. Now onto the head. Now this is obviously a Chaos head, and you can just about see across his brow here we have these kind of pointed Chaos, I call them icons, but they're not really, they're just the edge detailing. So we're just going to take a knife and we're going to come forwards very carefully and just trim this down. Just need to be super careful not to damage any other bits of the face mask. So once you've trimmed it down, just run your knife blade over it to make it nice and smooth like we have on the chest piece. And after a little cleaning up, you should have a nice smooth area like that. So going back to the chest now, this had a little time to dry off. What I'm going to do now is just take a little area off the side of each of these and then we're going to grab these chest mounted grenade packs from the Reaver's kit, and we're going to stick them on either side here just to hide that join. The final thing I'm going to do before I put this guy together is I'm going to trim off these posts, because we're not using Easy Fit Marine. So just a pair of clippers straight across on either side, and then just level off those shoulder joints. And now all we have to do is put the rest of the model together. And there we have it, one Void Combat ready Space Marine from the Eagle Warriors chapter. If you hang around for a moment, you can see a painted video of him coming up right now. And thanks for joining us here at the Cock Dice. Why not like this video and add a comment below? It really helps boost the channel. And while you're at it, if you click on the icon below, you can subscribe to the channel for all the latest updates as soon as they're live. Why not check out some of our other videos and playlists? You can click on the ones on screen right now. Take care, and we'll see you next time.